Your kid's college fund just got an upgrade. Whether you are currently saving for your kids' college expenses in the future, or whether you plan on doing so soon, the recently passed $1.7 trillion omnibus just made an upgrade to the 529 plan, which is one of the available options parents use to save for their college kids' funds. Now, there are multiple different accounts available for parents to be able to take advantage of to save for their kids' college expenses in the future. And as with everything, if you get benefits from the government, they're going to restrict you in some way. So the available options range between that spectrum of more benefits and more restrictions to less benefits and less restrictions. The first of these available plans is called the 529 plan, which is a tax-advantaged account. The money you put into these accounts grows tax deferred, and then withdrawals end up being tax-free if they're used for education. One more benefit is that there are no limits on how much you can contribute into one of these 529 accounts every year. Some of the downsides to the 529 plans include limited investment options, which means you cannot choose from anything you want to invest in. There are generally a very small number of options for you to choose how to invest in these accounts. Fees can vary and tax benefits can vary depending on the state. And there are heavy restrictions on using the funds for educational purposes. Otherwise, you run into issues with taxes and fees, penalties on those funds. Now, this 529 plan is the main one that just got this major upgrade from Congress, but there are two other accounts that people will mainly use to fund their kids' educational expenses for the future. One of these is going to be the Coverdell Education Savings Account. This account is also a tax-deferred trust account, but you can only contribute up to $2,000 per year per kid. If you've ever heard of an education IRA, this is the same thing. One of the benefits to the Coverdell ESA is that you can use it for other education expenses other than just tuition, like a 529. And in my opinion, the biggest benefit to a Coverdell ESA over 529 is the investment options. You can open it up like it's a regular brokerage account at many places like Fidelity or Vanguard or Schwab, and you can choose from stocks to ETFs to mutual funds that are all available in all normal accounts. You're not just limited to the small number of options that the 529 gives you. But you have a much smaller amount that you can contribute to the account. One other benefit to the Coverdell account is that you maintain control over the account until your kid is 30. You can reassign the account to another one of your kids if you need to, and so you do maintain a lot of control over this account. But the restriction is a lot lower of an amount that you can actually put into the account in the first place. And finally, one of the last accounts that is used to fund educational expenses for kids is just going to be a regular custodial account. Now, a custodial account is literally just a regular brokerage account. There are no tax benefits to this whatsoever. You put as much money into it as you want, and any amount of money can come out of it. The key thing to note here is that you opening up this account as a parent or as an aunt or uncle, you are the custodian of this account, not the beneficiary. Any money that goes into this account legally now belongs to the beneficiary, the kid. Now, they don't have the ability to access it or touch it until they turn 18. In some states, it's a different age. It's just the age of majority. But once they turn 18 or the age in their state, they get full access and full control over the account, and you as the custodian are removed and have no more control. So God forbid if you do have a kid that ends up not being deserving of the funds for whatever reason, and there's, because you've done a good job, there's tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in this account. By the time they turn age of majority, they get access and full control over all of that money. So if the kid grows up right, then this could be a very good option. They have full control over how it's spent. There are no restrictions on whether it could be used for education or starting a business or drugs or anything else. And so if you think that the kid is going to be able to use the funds appropriately when they turn 18, then this may be a good option. If you want to maintain some more control, you might want to go with one of the other options. And specifically, the 529 plan now looks a lot more attractive than it used to, considering you can now roll over funds to a Roth retirement account starting 2024. Now, this came up because one of the growing issues with education today is the declining value or return on investment that people are getting from a college education. Many young people realize this today and are not wanting to pursue a traditional degree just to get the piece of paper, because in reality, the ROI is not there to spend tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get a piece of paper when they could get the same job or a similar job much earlier and avoid all the debt, avoid all the expenses, and then gain those skills over the same period of time that they would just be earning a worthless piece of paper. Many young people are foregoing that traditional degree and are getting alternative degrees, alternative forms of education, learning skills for free through the internet, going to trade school. And so parents have saved up for years in these 529 plans, and now their kids can't use the money without getting hit with fees and penalties. And so the ability to roll over some money from this account into an IRA is a huge benefit for these kids. Now, like I said earlier, every time the government gives you a handout, they also bring with it a handcuff. And one of those restrictions for this new benefit is the lifetime limitation of only $35,000 on a transfer. Now, that's obviously a very low cap there, but number one, it's better than it was before. It's better than nothing. And number two, we have to remember this is for kids. And so $35,000 going into a Roth IRA when you're 18 years old, 19 years old, that could be a huge benefit to you over the course of the next 20, 30, 40 years with compounding interest, how fast that can grow. The next benefit to this is how the money can be invested. Once it's in a Roth IRA, you have the choice to invest it in other mutual funds, ETFs, and stocks that you don't have in the 529 plan itself. And lastly, the big thing to be aware of here, if you are wanting to take advantage of this, you will need to get your 529 account started for your kid soon rather than later, because the 529 account must have been open for at least 15 years to be able to take advantage of this. So if your kid is already 15 years old, they're heading off to college in 3-4 years, this is not going to be an option for you. But if your kids are under the age of 5, then you have enough runway in front of you where you may be able to take advantage of this someday if you want. And finally, as a reminder, I will be speaking at Jason Hartman's Empowered Investor Live Conference. It's going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona this month from January 27th through the 29th. It's going to be a fantastic event with a bunch of great speakers. I would love to see you there. And if you'd like to join me, get your tickets with the link in the description below. As always, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.